Club. Today we'll be talking about creating your own space in a new age digital world. We're your hosts, Akila Friend
and Ebony Chapman.
And for those who are watching along, you can see we're joined by a special guest. Let's welcome creative director and co-founder of Hella Looks, a female-run editorial zine and merchandise platform, Neijah Lanae. Hey, Neijah.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes. We're so excited to have you. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes. And like we were saying to Neijah offline, like we got the Vogue out, we got the editorial looks out. And Hella Looks, we said, okay, no problem. We are ready for it.
I love it. You guys look so cute.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're so excited to talk to you. So let's just get right into it. Like we said, we mentioned you're the founder of Hella Looks. Can you explain what it's all about for folks who may not know exactly what it is?
Yeah, so Hella Looks is a independent female-run zine and creative platform. We've published 3 zines so far, which are pretty much like smaller versions of a magazine. Our latest version was 52 pages, and we also produce shows, concerts, art shows, just different creative experiences that all have kind of like a meaningful message, and of course, fashion, because we are Hella Looks.
Yes, Hella Looks. Okay. I love the name Hella Looks, because I feel like as women, we just evolve every day. It's a different look. I want to have hair braids today. If I want to do natural, if I want to pull up the wig, child, like we be with the Hella Looks all the time,
all day. You know what I mean? Let alone a season.
Right. So I love the name. I think that like fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's talk about the name real quick then. So like what made you decide on it? Was it more so just, an idea that you said, this is slang that I use anyway, let's put it in there? Or what was your reasoning behind Hella Looks?
It's funny and kind of simple. I'm originally from Oakland, so I say hella all the time, like a whole lot. And I started a Tumblr. I just wanted to make a fun Tumblr that was all about my style inspiration. So I was posting, whatever fashion pictures and inspiration I wanted, and I called it Hella Looks. It's still up, hellalooks.tumblr.com. And when I came together with a few friends to actually start the zine, we loved that name and we just went with it and ran with it.
That makes sense. Hella is such a north term. Hella is such a up north term. So I feel like that was perfect. And once you explained it, duh.
Yeah. We go to the hometown. I love it.
So what do you think is the need in the market for something like Hella Looks? It is definitely something that ranges a lot with you said concerts, you have your mini short version of a magazine, shows, art shows. So what do you think is really the need in the market for this type of creativity?
Well, definitely starting out, I was not thinking about filling a need in the market. So that's been a journey, just getting myself and my team to, pivot and think that way, because we're at the base of it, we're artists, we're creators, and that's why we do it. But as we've evolved over time, I've seen that people like to have experiences that they can connect with. So when we were before the pandemic, we were doing stuff like Girls Art Show, which was a all female monthly concert, art exhibit, and kind of a flea market all in one. Every single time we would work so hard and be working after our full-time job and so exhausted by the time the show came around, but people would come up to us and be like, thank you so much. I really needed to be here today. This made my entire week. It refreshed me. And people really felt a positive exchange of energy. So I feel like we fill a space where we can provide that to people. So whether they're going to an event or they're reading our magazines or reading a story, there's very raw connection and inspiration that we provide. to the creative community in Los Angeles, and whoever else wants to come in from wherever else, we welcome you. But yeah.
Yes, plug. I would say too, because honestly, when it comes to experiential like experiences and things that you go to, you remember that. So even as a guest or ticket holder, you remember those events that you can get to go to. You go with your girls, or you go with whoever, and you just like experience something that you all enjoyed. So I could totally imagine myself being one of those people after one of your shows.
Oh
like,
my
girl,
gosh,
we needed this.
We love a good moment, a good experience, a good Instagrammable moment, of course. But something that we can all like take away from. I know Akilah has been to a couple like show premieres, just like with HBO, they had something going on with
Lovecraft Country,
right?
Yes.
And we talked about it before.
I love that show.
So right? It's so good. It's such a good show. And she was explaining to me, like, they had the drive-in movie and the lunchbox and like all of the little details really come together to make such a special experience. So the fact that you're able to provide that for somebody, just know that you're really making a difference in that way. Like,
thank you.
Absolutely coming to you for that special moment. Like, dang, I ain't got nothing else to do today. Like, what? Or I came here specifically for this, and I left my mind blown. I left feeling amazing. I left feeling positive.
Yeah, definitely. We want everyone that we come in contact with to, number one, be motivated to get all cute and stuff or whatever, but also to like feel welcome and feel like they can, let their guard down and connect with whatever else is going on or whoever else is there. So I think providing that in LA finding that in LA can be hard sometimes. So being another outlet to have that is definitely a huge part of what we do.
Yeah, let's delve into that a little bit, because what you do, and especially like what folks need to understand. Yes, Hella Looks, great zine, great pictures, great visuals, great interviews, but you are providing a sense of community for a lot of folks who are interested in this kind of stuff as well. So what made you? How did it all get started? And what was the true reasons behind you saying like the need for a place where folks can be themselves in a place like LA? Like, have you had any experiences where you felt like, you know what, I'm not getting it here, and so I need to create it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, being from Oakland, being from out of town, being a little bit of I don't want to call myself weird, but I guess I can be weird in certain ways or whatever.
Can't we all?
It wasn't always natural for me to like walk into a party or walk into a room or a space and just feel like I can connect with people and talk to anyone, or just that I'm even accepted. And I started out as a musician, so I would be going to a lot of stuff hoping to network or like things like that. And those experiences were kind of hard sometimes on my soul and my confidence. And when I started to meet people who really, really, really accepted me and created space for other creatives and just people in general, and it didn't have to be that, there was some kind of clout or status that came from it. It was just genuine connection and genuine, I believe in what you're doing and I want to support you. When I started to meet people like that, it really inspired me to look at things differently and kind of cultivate that energy myself, and just learning the value in investing in people and believing in people because people did that for me first. So with Hella Looks, I've been working with a lot of different women who are creative in different ways, whether it was someone I worked with like in my 9-to-5 corporate world, or someone that I worked with in music, creating visuals, styling, or something like that. I kind of grew friendships through all of that stuff, but came to a point where I was like, I have some really cool girls that I know, and they are extremely talented, and I know they have really dope ideas, so we should come together and just like make our own shit. Excuse me if I'm not supposed to curse.
Girl,
be yourself, girl.
But so I had this idea of Hella Looks, and because I didn't want it always to be like me creating with people only for like my own project, like my own music. And I hit up a couple friends and I was like, do you guys want to make a magazine? Like, we can all use it for our portfolios, and just like be creative and just like, build something from scratch. And we created our first zine called Identity. And it was really, really cool. It was for a team of 4. And yeah, it was a really big learning experience. Not only creating content from scratch, but also like printing something like a physical magazine. It was really fun. My partner Melissa actually like hand stitched all of the binding for that first run.
How many did you make in that first run?
I think we only made 50.
Still,
she hand stitched all of them. We printed them at the self print at Kinko. And like cut the edges off. It was so DIY, but it was so beautiful. It came out so great. A friend of ours, Brandon Hicks, shot the cover. It was beautiful. I should have like prepared and had it right here so I can show you guys.
We'll have the links for everyone. And just go out and check out more about Hello Looks. Don't worry about it. I'll have the visuals for you.
but from there, we just got really inspired to keep creating and not only keep creating zines, but just keep creating experiences. And we really didn't put ourselves in a box. Like if we had an idea, we, thought it through and brought most of our ideas to life in terms of like girls, different community circles and collaborations that we've done, panels. We did at the beginning of the pandemic, we did a conference called What a Time to Be Inside, where we kind of had this like community moment on Instagram with everyone, interviewing different people and spotlighting different creatives and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a journey, 4 years of creating. Yeah.
It's such a cute title, What a Time to Be Inside. So that was very creative.
Yeah. And it was funny. Well, we were looking on your Instagram, and so we saw one of your interviews, and we saw the background was like all newspapers and magazine clippings, and we were both like, "Dang, that is so creative! Like that is dope! Like just to be a magazine, and then have like your background be of other magazines, or maybe it was like your past magazine."
Well, no. This was very, very special. This was our latest zine, which came out at the end of February. And it's our action issue. And on the cover, we interviewed and photographed Frederica Newton, who is the wife of Huey P. Newton, who is co-founder of the Black Panther Party. So those newspapers are pages from the Black Panther Party newspaper archives.
Wow.
And yeah, so that was like really emotional. That was an emotional project, being from Oakland, being able to have the opportunity to speak with Frederica, who's a former Black Panther herself, and the president of the Huey P. Newton Foundation, and all the work that they're doing to kind of preserve his legacy and the Black Panthers' legacy in Oakland. That was unbelievable, and just like such a great experience and story to share on Hello Looks. Like what?
Oh my God, I have chills with you even explaining that.
That is incredible. Well, how do you decide? I mean, Frederica sounds like a no-brainer, but like, how do you decide on who to include in your zines, and how do you go about the process? Because I'm sure a lot of folks have ideas to say, wow, I'm creative. I can gather a group of friends who are like-minded and creative, but then to go from that into actual action,
it's different.
It's different. And then to decide from there, how do you compile?
I'm a little crazy in terms of like coming up with ideas. I'm always coming up with different ideas. And I just randomly came up with, well, it wasn't really random, but kind of taking the temperature of everything that's going on this in 2020, and things that we've been feeling as a team and been very important to us, and conversations that we want to have. We had the idea of our theme for our latest zine to be action. We already knew we wanted to do that. We did not have a game plan of who was going to be in it. We just kind of had an idea, a framework of what we wanted it to be. And a friend of mine actually works with the Dr. Huey P. Newton Foundation, and reached out to me, not at all knowing that we were going to do an action zine, and said, do you want to do something with Hella Looks and Frederica Newton? And I said, what? Yes. Can I give me a couple days? I will email you. And I just sent him a proposal from there. And the newspaper idea just like naturally popped into my head. And yeah, we went from there, and they were, they agreed to have her as our cover star, and yeah, the rest is.
I love that. I have a question about the just like process, right? Because I was sitting here with Tequila before our interview, and we were talking and discussing, and I was telling her, I was like, I have the most creative time when I'm sitting here with her, kind of coming up with ideas or bouncing ideas off of each other, or, because right now we're in a space of not having to work. We're not in work mode, we're in creativity mode. So it's easier to come up with these ideas. So I guess my question to you is kind of, how is that process with you? Like, are you all the time coming up with creative ideas, or do you need a time and space? Do you wake up and get morning tea? Like, what is that thing where you're like, okay, this helps me be in my creative mode all the time?
I like to think that my ideas come to me from some divine place that's not on earth. Like, I'll just be, or just obviously like probably, they're in my head from different experience and moments, and I just randomly get ideas. Like, I'll be doing something or driving, I have to pull over and write some notes or do a voice memo, or it just comes to me. It just randomly comes to me, and I write down notes, and then I'll come back to it later and start doing research and really fleshing things out. And a lot of times talking to the team and like fleshing things out, because Melissa, I really love her. She is a lot more practical than me. So I'll come up with something and she'll like add, she's my missing piece to like make things a reality. Like, without her, I'd probably be a little all over the place. So I think together we just make like a really good pair in terms of like executing things and really making ideas come to life. Like, she's really hands-on with the technical aspects of like building out things like that newspaper set that we did. She designed like a whole digital mock of it and like measured out how big each piece of paper needed to be and like all these things like that. So like, I would have never done that.
Us either. Listen, that's why I'm listening. I'm like, damn, practical. We're both like big idea visionaries. That's it. And so then all those technical things, we'd be like, how we do that?
And then our editorial, like our personalities, the team's personalities go so well together, because then our editorial director, Jessica, she's the writer, but obviously we have her in on all the stuff that we do with the team. And her personality is just she's always detailed about everything she does. So like having that perspective and that eye on it's a really good formula.
I think that's incredible. And that's the thing that folks need to understand. Even when you're creating something, even when your product is creative, there's a level of tact and there's a level of serious focus that needs to happen at every time. What people need to understand. So even you, when you were saying, to found it and you went ahead and you were thinking of your friends, like, did you think of those things instinctively to say, this is what I know I am, this is what I know I lack, let me find a co-founder, let me find a team member that can help me? Or did it just happen to miraculously work?
I definitely was thinking about that, because I'd worked with all these girls on different things. So I knew what they brought to the table. I knew what I brought to the table, and I'd seen it work together well outside of Hella Looks before we ever started it. So I was definitely thinking of that. And I'm a Virgo, so like I, for lack of better words, can be controlling, but I like to think of that as orchestrating. So I think I'm really good at taking a kind of step back and seeing a bird's eye view in terms of operational things, like in terms of like who can be a good team player here and there and how we can all come together and achieve something. I think I have a good, if I were to, toot my own horn, I think I'm good at that.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity now, like, do you know the signs of your, of Melissa and the editor? Like, what are their signs? Now I'm curious.
Yes.
All together.
Melissa is an Aries, and Jessica's a Cancer.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Virgo, Aries, Cancer.
Interesting. I don't know. I'll leave it to the folks who are really into astrology to say, is it air, water, wind? Like, what's the correlation between all of them?
I think Aries is an air sign. I'll have to look it up. And I think Cancer is water.
Yeah, Cancer is definitely
And
water.
Okay.
And your Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, super interesting. I'm a Gemini and she's a Taurus, so
I'm the Earth sign.
I'm the
My parents are Gemini and Taurus.
You know the dynamic well. I don't know.
Hopefully it's a positive one in your experience.
It is.
That's funny. But I really want to get into why you chose print. Print is, it can be difficult, with consuming media. Like, why did you choose magazine instead of any other medium in the digital space that we're in right now?
The digital space is very oversaturated. Even though we do share some of our content from the print magazine on the digital space, it's just hard to contain it. Once you create something and you put it on the internet, it's there and everyone can take from it and recycle it over and over again. So preserving that, that sacred creativity and having it in one physical space is something that I adore. And also I feel like it's an experience. Like it's a very personal experience to sit down and read something and to look through something and to put your screen down.
I would agree. I think we both would agree. Do you find that you have more popularity in the digital space? Like, are there more clicks and interaction with Instagram and maybe the video that you just posted or something like that versus someone actually buying the magazine and like sitting down and reading it?
I think it's all about where you invest your effort. I think that for myself, I've noticed that I've kind of fallen into that cycle of working to be on social media, working to create for social media. And I've really started to question that lately. And question, where I can take some of that effort and put it into pushing our print forward and getting that into more hands and more stores and things like that. So I really think that we just tend to not even second guess the effort that we put into social media or the internet. And I definitely want to make sure that I'm working to invest more time in the physical realm, in the IRL realm. And I think that wherever I invest the effort, the results will be.
I think that's a great perspective too.
Absolutely.
It's where you invest your time because we're so used to, we're seeing the results live from other folks' social. So we're just in tune to think that's the better place. But it's a good perspective to say, well, just because you see it doesn't mean it's always better.
Yeah.
So that's great. So what have folks been saying? You put out your third zine, Action. What have been the results so far? What have your loyalists have to say about that?
People are proud. They're really excited. We got a lot of love from Oakland this time, which is makes me very, very, very happy with the name being inspired by my hometown, bringing kind of full circle and being able to interview a former Black Panther. Yeah, that's been extremely exciting, and people have really embraced it. Like people who didn't even know about Hella Looks from my hometown before. My family is always super proud, so they're really excited about this one. And our followers and supporters in our community, they seem to be loving it too. I definitely feel like this is like a level up for us, from self-printing at Kinko's. And self-stitching binds. We have a real binded copy of officially printed magazine, 52 pages instead of 30 pages since we had the last ones. So we are proud of this level up, and I can definitely feel that from the community as well.
Yeah, I mean, we were looking on Instagram, of course, and looking on your website as well.
Yeah.
And we noticed like the magazine that you guys have featured on, it's very well put together. Very well put together. It's like a perfect little slender booklet. It's perfect.
Even down to the video that you put out on the website, just showcasing what you have involved, like the nails, the design. Don't worry, we caught everything and we loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like literally the perfect size to fit into your purse too. Like, it's the bathroom magazine, it's the waiting at the doctor's office magazine. Like, this is what you guys need to be investing in. I feel like the stories are so surrounded by the community and what it is going on, that if you guys need to learn something today, please go get Hella Looks. Like, y'all something today, okay? Like, absolutely, stay educated.
Thank you.
Of course. So there were a lot of through lines that we spoke about today. You know, your creativity, the fact that you founded it, the origin, and you know what it's all about. Deciding to do print in this digital stage, like having that real conviction in yourself and that belief in saying that we're going to create a community of our own that kind of takes us back to the roots and the beginning of why print media and media as a whole is so important. And then we talked a little bit about leadership too, and I want to delve more into that because you're doing it well between you and two other women who happen to be Asian American. Can you talk a little bit more about, you know, your dynamic between the three of you guys? How do you guys work together, and any insights or advice for folks who are hoping to create something similar with working with you?
I definitely think that being part of a team is extremely humbling, and you got to be a team player before you are a leader. A leader is definitely only a role on the team. And that's just to keep everything organized. It's not any more glamorous, any more important than any other spot on the team. And that's something that I had to learn in order to work with the team. And I really do believe that, you know, it's a really corny saying, but it's very true. You go further together than you do alone. So I feel really blessed to have had experiences where I can kind of tone my little know-it-all Virgo quirks down and learn from my teammates and listen to my teammates and give their ideas a shot and see it come to life, and people like really love it and me love it myself. So I don't even remember what the question is, but
together. I'm curious if your different backgrounds also play. Yeah. I know you said the characteristics and who they are as people and who you all are as people, but how do you bring your background together to produce this?
Oh, I think us coming from diverse backgrounds adds to what we do. So Melissa's Filipino American, Jessica's Chinese American. I think us having different experiences, different cultures, just adds a little bit more flavor into everything that we do. And it makes it more authentic to be able to like truly come from experience in different places and to learn from each other and to support each other. It's definitely, I love it. I grew up I'm from the Bay, so I grew up in a very diverse area. Actually, when I came to LA, I was like, why is everybody so separated? So yeah, it's natural to me, and I just love the fact that we have kind of all, you know, different strengths and different experiences to come together, not only learn from each other, but also just like make our team unit that much more interesting and stronger.
Yeah, I have a couple questions with that. So it's like, when it comes to picking stories, which I think we've kind of touched on a little bit too earlier, do you find that your story picking is also diverse? Like what you're telling in the magazine or in the zine is also a diverse reflection?
I do actually. I think that we could get a little bit more diverse. I think that we can also we can always work with more people and tell more stories, and we will. But I think it is. We mostly come from a place where we're trying to communicate the experiences of different independent creatives and people that we know. So that by nature to me is going to be unique because we're telling individual people's stories, and also telling our own stories, kind of in the mix. We had a blog, like a short-lived blog, where we each had our own kind of column. So I was doing a thing called group chat where I was interviewing different people, like doing video interviews. Jessica was doing something called Jessica's Journal, where she was writing like a monthly essay about like an idea or a topic that she was, wrestling with mentally, or just like, had on her heart. And then Melissa was doing something called Mel Methods, where she was showing different methods of how to do like interior design or wellness things and stuff like that. So like that was really fun, to kind of show our own individual interests and
so what happened to it?
Our day-to-day lives. Running a blog, in my opinion, this is just my opinion,
Tell it.
it's a thankless job. It takes a lot of effort. And the audience is just, it's not really there.
I feel it.
It's tough.
I feel it.
Tough.
Writing a blog is hard. Like I tell kids all the time, I'm like, I hate writing things because of the process that it is.
Yeah.
It's let me write it out. Even like with the treatments of episodes, right? Like you gotta write it out, you gotta revisit, you gotta think about it, gotta edit it, gotta consult with the person. Like it's so much. I'll be like, listen, like I don't even want to know.
Just
like,
bring them on the
like, what did we start this for in the first place? I forgot.
So much. But to go back to like my follow-up question too. So for your Black Panther interview, was that a discussion that you felt like you needed to have with your teammates? Were they already supportive of the movement of what it was? And, vice versa, when it comes to Asian American struggles or issues, is there also like a conversation or a complete understanding of what it is and what their experiences are when it comes to creating or picking stories and that sort of thing, because it is difficult sometimes when you are,
coming from different places and different points of view.
Yeah. I don't think that any of us would ever like shut down something like that for one another. I think that, with so far we've done the Frederica Newton story, and they are just as passionate about it as I am. And Jessica actually wrote all of the interview questions and all of the in the whole entire cover story. And it was really fun to kind of talk with her about that, because me being from Oakland, having my family members and parents have experiences, their own personal stories about the Black Panther Party and what it was like, being able to tell her that and like say, hey, you should watch this documentary. Hey, you should do this when you're like doing your research and all that. And her like being super into it and super passionate about it, and being able to have those conversations has been just made us like closer as a team and as friends. So I just feel like that's what our dynamic is. If someone has an idea and we're going for a story, we're gonna all like be hands-on and learn about that and connect with it, because we're some emotional as creatives, and we're gonna like get really connected with anything that we're doing.
I think
even like personal or not.
Yeah, it sounds like you lucked out with a team. And I do want to highlight, this is Women's History Month. And so this is 3 women getting it done in real time. Like was the idea, I know these were your friends and you knew like, based on how you guys work together, that this would work, exponentially well, but was it a conscious decision to not have a man or a male on the team? And if it was or wasn't, what are the nuances of having just all female run leadership? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Was it a conscious decision? I think it was. It was a little while ago, so I can't confirm 100%. But I definitely think we take a lot of pride in being an all-female team. And like I said, I think more of the nuances are just like, for me, myself, learning how not to be a catty girl who's like, it's my way or the highway type thing. I think that was something that I learned early on, was a bad habit that I needed to overcome. So I think being able to work with women for me has been definitely a huge learning lesson and opportunity for growth. And I'm extremely thankful for it and proud to be on this team.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to say that women are like the number one top consumers when it comes to fashion and media and magazines and all of the things, like I feel like, Elle and the top magazines are ran by women, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like our perspective in life gives us such a different I just feel like it's something that a man just can't relate to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was trying to say it nicely, but just to be real, like,
just sit back and enjoy this.
Yeah, like I think women have such a complex stance in society as is. Coming from the 20s, not being able to vote, not being able to do this. And then of course now being Black women, being women of color, that adds a whole nother extra layer into our experiences and what it is. Now, that was hella years ago, right? Yeah. But now it still is a residual in 2021. And so continuing to tell female stories, absolutely, I think is still very important because there's so many different instances or experiences that have yet to be told. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't even know. We're just scratching the surface. But I also feel like not only telling female stories, but telling stories from a female perspective. I feel like women naturally just we tend to be more in tune with our intuition and with emotions and things like that. So be able to tell stories visually and orally or written or whatever from a female perspective is special and unique, and we don't get that enough.
Absolutely. I mean, so would you say, do you have any experience in media or journalism or anything like that? And if not, how have you used your unique experience to kind of propel or push your agenda?
So I started out as a musician, still do music, but that's really where I started. And I was also working as a copywriter for different clothing brands. And since doing Hello Looks, I've been able to take like my writing work and work in more like editorial spaces. So being able to work for companies and craft stories that I believe in and feature people that I believe in for kind of larger scale companies has been like the main way that I've been able to do that.
Awesome. Give us an update on what's next. I mean, we're talking about everything that you're doing right now, which already seems like, I mean, you're in your bag for sure. But let's talk a little bit about what's next for Hella Looks, what you got going on. Any advice too, if you want to just share general advice for folks who even want to meet you where you're at right now as you're, going to that next step.
So what's next for Hella Looks is more video content to come for some of the other spotlights in our action zine. And you'll be seeing that action zine in some of your favorite stores as well. I'm claiming that. And we'll be having more merch and more zines. That's what we're working on right now, to give you more beautiful coffee table gems that you can brag about and tell your friends about when they come to your house post-pandemic.
Stay safe.
And another I guess advice I would give people is, if you want to do something, you can do it. You can do it. If you're creating something and you have a gut feeling or a question like, I wonder if should that earring be right there? I don't know. Move the earring. Just do it. There's so many times that I've like been creating and like had a question in the back of my head and didn't act on it. And later on, I'm like, damn, I should have acted on that question. So create, do whatever you want to do. You can do it, and trust yourself and be detailed and take the time to just make your vision come to life.
Absolutely. And I know we're going to ask about your socials and where we can find you at the end. But where can people find, like, okay, let's say they want to know where these concerts are at, or where you're filming your next, doing your next show or whatnot. Is that something that we can find in the magazine if we buy it? Or is that something that you post online, or how? Or is it on social? Like, where do people find that type of info? Because I want to know. I want my LA concerts. Like, where are we going?
Well, all of the current things that we're doing will always be in the zine. And you can get the zine and all of, event or program information on hellalooks.com. That is HELLALOO. I can't spell. KS.com.
Okay, good. So I just wanted to make it clear that if you wanted to know where you can find concerts and the shows that they were putting on, you can only find them in the zine. Is that correct?
No. You can find them you can find everything we're doing on hellalooks.com. But as we will be doing multiple zines every year, there, whatever is current or coming up will be in that specific issue. And we're also on Instagram and Twitter at hellalooks.
Perfect. Okay, well, we just want to thank you all for continuing to show us love and watching and listening to us. We have Neijah here, so she is really giving us all the looks, honey. Hella looks, hella opinions, hella vibes. Okay. And so we want you guys to continue to love and watch us. So please continue to subscribe on YouTube, listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave a comment, and let us know what y'all thinking. If you guys have a lead or have someone that you want us to interview, please email us at theblackcreatorsclub@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at the Black Creators Club, and continue to support and show love, because we're here for y'all. Okay, we're here for y'all.
That part. Yes. So we know, Neijah, we had so much to talk about, but we're not through. Now let's get to our games. For the folks who've been listening to our episodes, every time we have a guest on, we'd love to just play a little game with them that really adds on to what they do in their day-to-day life. So we know you're a creative director and, again, the co-founder of an editorial short-form magazine, Hella Looks. So we're going to play a game with you called Editor and Chief It, or y'all could keep it. I'll explain what it's all about.
Did you guys make this game up?
Yes, from visionaries, okay? Visionaries over here. So what we'll do, so I'll explain the game. We'll read out titles of real articles that exist on the web they've come out already, real articles, and you'd respond with Chief It, which means this is something that you would love to add to Hella Looks, or Keep It, meaning you'd rather this not be included in your next zine. Okay? So we're just going to read the title. Right. So the first title is The Best Dressed Black Creatives on Instagram This Week. Chief It or Keep It?
Keep it.
Oh, explain why.
I'm not a huge fan of outfit roundups lately. Yeah.
We
see all the looks on the feed anyway. Like, we gotta come with something else. Something original.
Yes.
We love it. Okay, so the next one, it says, you want to cheat on your husband. How to fight the urge. Are you chiefing it? or y'all can keep it?
I'll tell you, the stuff you found.
Keep it.
The stuff on the World Wide Web, honey.
Should we get that together somewhere else? We are not talking about that. No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. How to start a successful e-commerce side hustle on Shopify.
Chief it.
Keep it. Okay.
No, she said chief it.
Oh, chief it. Okay. I was like, okay, I'm surprised at that one. Yeah. Why chiefing it? Why would you editor and chief it?
As part of our mission, our purpose to share creative and independent stories, we also want to share resources with people who want to start their own businesses or are running their own businesses. So yeah, I think that would be a great story to explore.
We love it. Look, Some of our ideas might show up in Hella Look. We might even buy this magazine now, y'all. Okay. Black celebs whose children are following in their footsteps. Keep it or keep it?
I would read it, but keep it.
Okay, this next one. Minneapolis to pay social media influencers during the trial of officers charged with killing George Floyd. Would you chief it or keep it?
Read that one more time.
No. So Minneapolis to pay social media influencers during the trial of officers charged with killing George Floyd.
Possibly chief it. I want to know more about what's going on there.
Listen,
exactly.
Neijah, your response was literally my same when I read it. What the heck are they trying to tell us? I was like, sometimes articles, their titles don't always be clear.
Well, I mean, not to have a conversation about each title, but I've been wondering a lot lately about influencing when it comes to things that are not products. So yeah, I think that's an interesting topic to explore.
It's a different take on it for sure, because you know, it's obviously going to be talked about during the trial, but I thought this was such a difference. Like, okay, we're talking about social media influencers when it comes to,
it's out there for real.
Yeah, and I was also thinking like social media influencers, because the majority of the time their images are so I don't want to say pure, but they're not political, and so to then pay social media influencers to stand in a political stance, I think could be also another interesting topic, because it's like, how do you decide if you want to or don't? Does it go with your brand? Does it match? Blah blah blah. Like, there's so many things to consider, and how would that look for somebody? Now, are people going to drop this influencer because they stood on one or the other side of the line? That type of thing, So
is it ethical?
It's more that I think is it ethical? Like, who is paying you to do this? Is it this major media outlet? Is it, who doesn't want to take a stand? Is the officers themselves,
like what's happening? Yeah,
that's definitely something to keep on tap with.
Okay, so the next title, it says 30 by 30. These are the lessons 30-year-olds of. Wait, am I reading this right?
These are the
lessons 30 years of living has taught me. Are you chiefing it or keeping it?
Chief it. Editor-in-chief that. Yes. Send it to the top of the priority list.
So many insights that the people need to know. Okay, and the last one. Dope stuff on my desk. Stay flawless with these beauty must-haves. Chief it or keep it?
Chief it. Yeah, I like that. I really like that one. It's not like necessarily 100% our lane, but I think like all of the girls in the team would be interested.
Absolutely. I mean, this is something everyone would do. I think gotta be in there at least. Okay, well, thank you. This was such a fun game. I'm so glad, we got a few chiefs, we got a few keeps. So this is a good balance.
She started off and she was like, y'all can keep, y'all can keep. I was like, uh-oh.
All right, how about you just tell us what's in Hella Look?
Y'all like skipped a page. You're like, okay, let's go to page 2. No. That was a really, really fun game. That was super creative. Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good. Yes. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean, I feel like everyone's experiences, and especially yours, has been shared today. We talked about, like she said, leadership and what that looks like. I mean, having to really maneuver, sometimes changing your own perspective of what you think should and shouldn't happen, so that you compromise with your teammates and figure out how to make that relationship work in your best favor.
Being aware of it too. So that, I mean, kudos to you. Because a lot of folks aren't aware yet.
It's a struggle. It's growth. As long as we're living, we're growing, or we have an opportunity to grow. But yeah.
That part. Amazing. Yeah. So Neijah, thank you again for joining us today. I know you said it earlier, but we're going to give it to the folks again. Let our listeners know where they can find you. And if there's anything else you want to, get off your chest, feel free to use this time to do so too.
Well, you can find Hella Looks at hellalooks.com. That's Hella Looks. I say it really fast. And then we're also on Instagram and Twitter at Hella Looks. And I am on Instagram at Neijah Lanae, Neijah Lanae, because I know that one's a hard one to spell.
But we love it. We love it. Okay. Thank you so much. And you can find me chatting business, pop culture, and lifestyle at Akila Friends. That's AKILAHFFRIEND. Ebony, where can they find you?
And you can find me on Instagram at Ebony-Chapman12, where I'm also highlighting Black-owned businesses. So please check that out on the gram, y'all.
Yes, and of course, you can find the Black Creators Club at the Black Creators Club on all platforms. Thank you so much for joining us, and remember to always abide by your ABCs.
Always be creating.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.